What's up, everyone? This is Marie Larsen, and you are listening to The Audio Entrepreneur. I've spent the last year and a half doing podcasts and content creation for some of the fastest growing entrepreneurs today. Their strategies and tips have been life-changing once I took action. So I decided to take my audio industry to the next level by building a 7-figure company that teaches people how to create, strategize, and repurpose their content like a pro. The question so many people are wondering is, how is she going to do it? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me as I explain marketing strategies to grow my online business. My name is Marie Larsen, and welcome to The Audio Entrepreneur.
Hey, what is up, everyone? I'm so excited because today I wanted to go through and share the 4 steps that I use to create a social media content calendar. Now, for those of you who know a little bit about me, I have gone through in this last little bit on my social medias and asked what you guys are doing for your content calendars and kind of share what I do in order to boost up my social medias in the way that I have. Now, I will tell you right now, the first thing is to make sure that you are willing to be consistent in this next little bit. I have 4 different steps that I want to share with you on how I have created my social media editorial content calendars, or whatever you want to call them. And so let's start with the first one, being figure out what content really resonates with your target market. Now, it really doesn't make sense to take content or go through and grab content or create content that isn't what your what your audience is looking for, right? And so I have gone through in this last little bit, and I've really done some research to figure out what my audience is really looking for, right? What you guys are looking for in order to grow and to feel like that I'm helping you in the best way, or if you're doing it for your audience, what you can be doing in this next little bit to help your content to really resonate with your target market or with your tribe per se. And so going through and really figuring out what content resonates with your people is really, really important. And I've done this by going through and asking on social medias for a long time, in my Facebook groups, on my Instagram stories, to go through and figure out what is of most interest. Now, a lot of people, what they do is that they will just assume that they understand what their audience is wanting. And I will tell you that is not the right thing to do. Assumption never gets you in the right direction, right? Like, you can't just assume things. And so I figured out that if I go and actually ask my audience, literally through these really harmless ways, via highlighted stories or just stories on Instagram or in my Facebook groups, to really pique questions that I understand what they are looking for. I'm doing this podcast episode because, I've been doing it for a long time for my personal company, but I know that it's something that you guys are really interested in as well, if that makes sense. And so going through and really doing like a social media audit, right? And figuring out what that really includes. And I will include in here in my blog a social media audit and what you should be doing for your social media strategies. But you should make sure that you have a clear plan of how your business will use channels like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and significantly increase your chances of success if you go through and really plan this out. I did this with my team just a little bit ago, and I will tell you it was one of the most helpful and successful things that I've done, to really sit down and realize what uses we have for Twitter, analytics that we wanted to use for Instagram, going through and doing Facebook analytics, and really just pushing that out in all different ways. And people ask me, what do I mean by a social media audit? A social media audit is the process of reviewing what's working, what's failing, and what can be improved across all of your social media channels. Most people don't look forward to audits because it's a lot of numbers, and people don't really have a good feel for it because normally the last time you heard about an audit, it was usually from the IRS, right? or issues that you have with your tax returns. However, not all audits are bad, especially for your social medias. And so I'm going to go through a lot of what I've learned from this has been through sproutsocial.com. which has been super, super helpful for me to go through and really understand how to create a social media audit. They have templates there and everything that I am more than willing to share here as well. And so audits can be a fantastic thing. So I tell you, figure out what content resonates with you and go through a social media audit. Really figure out what you want to, hit really hard for each social media platform and the reason that you're going through and hitting that content for each one. The second thing I would say is decide how often to post. Now, I will tell you, you are supposed to be posting on your personal Facebook profile 3 to 5 times a day, in your Facebook group 5 to 7 times a day, Twitter at least 5 times a day, LinkedIn 2 to 5 times a day, Google Plus 3 to 10 times a day, and Pinterest 5 to 10 times a day. Guys, there are so many ways that this can get overwhelming like crazy. And there are lots of guidelines to help you figure out what times are best to really push out, really push out this information, or really push out at the time of day where this content's going to be consumed in really good ways as well. Now, something that I've learned is if you go through and look at Facebook, Facebook is a low volume to high volume network, meaning you don't want to post too frequently or else fans will get too frustrated with too many posts. So make each post really count by offering something valuable or interesting to your audience. So your minimum should be 3 times a week, and your maximum you should aim for like 10 to 15, and aim for quality versus quantity in Facebook. Now in Twitter, Twitter is a high volume to low volume network, meaning you can share more here because of Twitter's fast-paced nature. Share content created by you or curated from other sources. Just make sure it's relevant and interesting to your followers. LinkedIn, it's a low to high as well. Make sure your content doesn't dominate the feed, but that you're sharing content that's relevant to your business and industry. Google Plus, it's a low to high volume as well, value for networking. Posting more frequently on Google Plus gives Google more content, keywords, and expertise to index. And it searches results and pages for you. So Google Plus, you definitely should be posting as frequently as you can. And Pinterest, if you want your pins to get found and the high volume of content being shared on Pinterest, you should be posting more frequently. Use interesting, beautiful images, the right keywords to get your content found, and links that go back to your website. And I will make sure to put this all in my blog so that you guys can go through and really walk through this as well, and these steps that I have found that have been helpful for me and for my team and clients as well. So make sure that you really check that out. Look for trends between publishing rates and engagement. There are a lot of Facebook analytic reports. There are so many different kinds of analytic reports that you can get for Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, for all of these different places. You can easily go through and find that, and that's awesome. Number 3 would be create or source great content to share. So after you've gone through and you figured out what content your audience is liking, how often you should be posting, then going through and creating your source of or sourcing great content to share can be one of the hardest things for people. Honestly, step number 3 is the hardest thing for so many people to do. And it's the reason why I encourage so many people to start a podcast. And the reason for that being is that as soon as you have a ton of organic information that is all you, it is so easy to go through it and push your content out like crazy because it's all you. You know, people really find you as a credible source like crazy. So once you have an idea of what content your audience enjoys and how often you need to be posting, it's time to find links to share, whether it's, someone else that you're doing a joint venture with, or just your own links if you have courses or things like that. If you don't have your own content to fill your calendar, you can use tools like BuzzSumo or Feedly or StumbleUpon. There are lots of different types of social media content that's out there that if you don't have the opportunity to, or I guess you're not creating your own content, then there are ways that you can build out your social medias with other people's content as well. But I would highly, highly, highly suggest that if you're going to build out an audience, that you take the time to go through and build out an audience, guys, that's really excited who you are, right? And what you stand for. That you're building out a culture rather than just an audience. And there is a difference. I would also continue to go off and say that be careful with the amount of content that you share from other people, just because it can bog down your likes and the algorithms that Facebook and Twitter and all these different social media platforms have. It might bog down your algorithms for those places a lot. Now, fill up your social media editorial or content calendar as much as you possibly want, right? So there are places where you can schedule out your messages, via chatbots, or go through and really visualize your entire calendar. I would sit down and take 2 weeks. Make that your first goal, is to build out enough content for 2 weeks. Sprout Social has built lots of powerful publishing tools just for this purpose. So check out their stuff as well. It's so helpful for me to see the big picture. So I would use them, but I love using just Google Calendar. And I'll sit down, and each client has their own color, right? And I'll go through and say, okay, at this time each day, so-and-so stuff needs to be published. Now, a lot of people freak out at times because they're like, oh, Marie, if I use these social media platforms that go through and pre-publish or publish it for me, then the algorithms also bog that down a lot. Guys, that's not true. As long as you get on, the biggest thing that you should look for is that the interaction that you have for timing each time that your podcasts go out, or any other social media content that you have going out, that you are jumping on there and getting as much interaction within that first couple of minutes as fast as possible. The more interaction you can get, the higher chances that you will getting a lot of engagement for the rest of that post lifespan, per se. I would also say go through and put together hashtags that are really good. I have used a lot of different hashtag generators in my day. And I will tell you that I love using it's called allhashtag.com, all-hashtag.com, and it's a free generator. It goes through and really, if you have keywords that are going really well in your certain target market, then use those, and it will come up with different ideas that people will probably be looking for your information under as well. So I love that. There are so many different ways that you can go through and really create that process out, but I would definitely say that is one of the most important things, is really sitting down and figuring out how much content you're going to be doing, and really hitting out those 4 points, right? Those 4 points that we've talked about today. The first point being figuring out what content resonates, decide on how often to post. Number 3 being create or source great content to share or create your own, right? Via podcasting, or and also number 4, fill up your social media content calendar. Guys, if you have all 4 of those things, you are creating a very, very helpful and wonderful content calendar. And I will go through in this next little bit in my Facebook group called Profitable Podcasting Strategies for Entrepreneurs. I'll go through and do a whole audit session for you guys so that you can see what audit sessions I take both my clients through and take everyone else through as well, take myself through to continue to grow out my social medias as well. If you guys have any other questions, I know this was not as fun or anything like that of a podcast, but I know it's a lot more informational. But I know that this can be something that's really, really helpful. Another few tools that might be useful for you could be Trello or WordPress or Editflow, as I said, Google Calendar. There are so many different ways that you can go through and really build out these social medias. And as the common saying goes, practice makes perfect. I would like to change it and say perfect practice makes perfect. So the more that you can go through and really practice this out, and really set up your social medias so that you have an effective workflow and you're really creating out and posting out tons of social media content, this can be a really, really great resource for you to go through and really push this out to its fullest potential. Anyway, guys, you guys are awesome. I know this one was a lot more informational, as I said, but hopefully it was helpful. Anyway, I will chat with you guys soon. And if you have any questions, be sure to check out the Facebook group called Profitable Podcasting Strategies for Entrepreneurs, and we will make sure to get all of your information in there and answer your next question on this podcast. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you guys next time.
Boom! Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Do you have questions for me? Go to the Facebook group, Profitable Podcasting Strategies for Entrepreneurs, and I'll be sure to do an episode to answer your next question. Again, guys, my name is Marie Larsen, and this is The Audio Entrepreneur.